Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Let us start.
वेलकम टू कॉमन इंडियन वॉइस। बहुत दिनों के बाद मैं फिर
हरिओम।
से स्वामी प्रज्ञानंद जी एंड गीतांजलि जी के साथ जुड़ पाई हूँ। मेरा हेल्थ थोड़ा परमिट नहीं कर रहा था, डॉक्टर्स का ये था कि थोड़ा गैजेट से दूर रहिए, सॉरी फॉर दैट। मगर गीतांजलि जी मैं क्या बोलूँ, शी हैज प्रूव्ड एक्सेप्शनल होस्ट। इतनी मीठी बोलती है और इतने प्यार से सवाल पूछती है, तो मैं आज सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक ऑनलुकर होंगी। गीतांजलि मैम, द फ्लोर इज योर्स।
Pranam Swami ji, everyone, welcome to Common Indian Voice and Isha ji, welcome back. बहुत बहुत खुशी हो रही है आपको देखकर, and hopefully you'll join all the coming discussions. Swami ji, we had covered chapter 6, verse
Let me
number
say a
20.
prayer.
And
Om Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devagi Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogda Gopalanandana Partho Valsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahad. Hariom.
so before we start, there are a few questions that are from my side, from also from people with whom I discuss what we are learning here. One of the questions that I had to ask was that, as we discussed, this world is a reflection of our mind. And so my question is that if that is true, then do all people have their own truth or their own perception of the world, or is it like a collective perception and that is the social truth or the universal truth, or each person can look at the world differently and have their own world? How do we see it?
The mind and brain, they are the instruments of, they are the base of perception for the senses of knowledge. They provide the base for the senses of knowledge. Actually, we are seeing a two-dimensional world on the outer mind. It is our senses and brain which project a three-dimensional world in which we find ourselves in as a body. So this aspect has to be understood very well. There is no three-dimensional world actually. It is only our vision which is creating a three-dimensional world. There is only particles and energy waves in the outer nature. It is our senses which create shapes, and it is our brain which associates names with it, concept with it. We don't see a thing. We all have our vision of the same thing. We will be perceiving differently. Suppose there is something. One person thinks I am the owner, and it has these. Another person thinks it is his or hers. So I cannot use it without permission. About tree also, it is in their campus. It is a tree and there is no campus. But in the earth, this is the truth. But in the mind and in the brain, we feel that this is this person's campus and this tree belongs to him, and that tree has his name and its fruits are like this. All the things are our own creations. I can't say imagination, because it has been like that since human beings were created. Every brain and mind means that of any creature, that will differ. It has a different capacity to operate. Human brain and mind has the highest level of development. The consciousness can operate in this human mind and intellect to the highest satisfaction, to the highest level. And after that also, every individual has to develop, slowly rise in the level of consciousness. If the level of consciousness is below the navel area, then we are mere animalistic life. Ours is an animalistic life. Our instincts and inspirations will be at the animalistic level, eating, drinking, progeny, and sleep. Ahara, nidra, abhaya, maidhunam cha. So that will be the animal level. But human brain has developed to a far greater degree. So nobody can be purely at the animal level, but if they are not aware and if they don't rise to the higher levels, there are people who remain merely at the animal level. They kill, they steal, they can harm anybody. They don't have any affection. They don't have higher values or feelings like that. They don't care for it. Means they don't have, they can't have this, nobody can say. But they don't care for it, so they don't develop it. They don't evolve their level of consciousness. If it is at the stomach area only, then the hoarding mentality is there. Everybody's greed cannot be fulfilled. Everybody's needs can be fulfilled. Without understanding it, we start collecting things around us. And this level of consciousness justifies it. That, oh yes, I have to collect things. There is a interesting story told by a saint that one person came to him and told, I am worried. You have everything, you are rich, your children are okay, family is okay, then why are you worried? I calculated that my seventh generation cannot have anything from what I have earned today. So if somebody worries to such an extent, then a human being utilizes much more nature's resources than any other creature. So human life itself is a polluter and a destroyer. Actually, if they are not cultured and they don't, Ishavasyamidam sarvam, yat kinja jagatyam jagat, whatever is there is inhabited by, is filled by God, godly consciousness. Tena tektena bunjida. We very sparing when you use these resources in which God is also residing. So they should be used very wisely, with a great level of judgment, great level of sacrifice. Whatever I have, can I make use of it for others? This attitude, if it is there, then nobody will amass unnecessary amounts of wealth and create jealousy in others. They also take to that path. So a bad trend is set of greed. What is called capitalism is nothing but a bad trend of greed. Greedy, greedier and greediest. they are considered to be successful. So this should not be. This should not be. Tena tektena vunjida should be the principle. And then to the higher levels of knowledge, pure knowledge. Only increasing the knowledge is their concern. Like those who do research and other things, they are increasing the knowledge level of human beings. But material knowledge is a different thing. Self-knowledge, Atmajnan, is a very, very higher level. Just can't compare both of them. Material knowledge, sciences and other history, geography, other things. And that I told that these are just imaginations. We can't exist beyond here and now. Me, here and now is the point in which we exist. We can't just go to the next point at a particular place and time. We are stuck there. And this happens every time, every moment, this is the condition. So, it is just imagination that we are in this world, we are moving here, moving there, and we are gaining this knowledge, that knowledge. Self-knowledge is the only knowledge. How we are living, how we are doing, how we are thinking, how we are seeing, perceiving, how we are remembering, And how we analyze all these things by intellect, and beyond that also how we are conscious of all these actions, subtle actions of memory and analysis and perceiving all these things, how we are conscious of all this. And then sages, Vedantins, they went beyond consciousness also. There must be something which is providing consciousness. There must be some base, some source for all this consciousness. What is that source? So they found Sachidananda, Shuddhoham, Divyoham, Shivoham. They found out that level. So it is very rare that somebody will reach that level, but we have to strive for it. So at the individual level, we can only reach the material knowledges. Our brain has enough material and development for this. It is very smart in this. But when the social truth comes, it is relative. The individual level is relatively lesser truth than the social level, because in which we develop into a higher level of seva and other things. And then still higher level, we self-realization. For that also our brain has developed. But for self-realization, brain has to evolve further. Means it has to understand itself and it has to evolve further, which can be done. Those who are seeking the self-knowledge, Atmajnan, they evolve their material level also to comply with that level. So compliant it is called. So they have to be compliant with the Atmajnan. They have to evolve further. At the present human level, most of the people are concerned with material level only. They can't perceive anything beyond. Even though they are using intelligence, even though they are using memory, even though they are conscious that we have memory and intelligence, even though they leave everything and sleep, still not aware that there can be something beyond. So all these truths are relative. The social one is comparatively more truth, more at a higher level of truth than the individual level, and the spiritual level is even at the highest level. Adhyatma Vidya Vidyana. Oh.
So, Swamiji, what I understood was that at the social level, what we collectively perceive is something which is collective truth for the society. And then at the individual level, our truth can be different. So from that, one more question in today's context, like how we get upset over incidents that are happening in our country, the various debates that are happening, and we get sometimes very carried away and very upset, oh, what will happen to our country? What is the spiritual solution to that? How to deal with a situation like that at the
those who have
level?
evolved to the higher level, they definitely have the power to change things at the lower level. If you are a very knowledgeable person, wise and learned, then you have control over the material things, not only on the knowledge at the knowledge level. So those who have evolved to the higher levels, and those who have evolved to the spiritual and Brahman level, they definitely have a full grip over the lower levels, because we create it in our consciousness. It can't come from anywhere else other than consciousness. All these things. So we have a grip. We can choose also. We can change also. All these things have been done by the saints.
But we also see in history, like when the Mughals came in, Guru Nanak Ji was there, and all the bhakti movement saints were there, Tulsidas Ji, Surdas Ji, but still the invasion happened, still our people suffered. How do we make sense of that?
Prarabdha, collective prarabdha. that we did not perish like people in Latin America and Americas. We do not perish. We maintained our culture and everything. Through bhakti, they went to people, and without any risk, people were able to maintain their cultural levels. So the arrogant and aggressive and violent elements, tamasic and asuri elements, which were attacking us, their main aim was to change the whole scenario into their level. But they did not succeed fully. They succeeded partially, but we fought back. That is what history says. So that is, we are the only civilization which fought back, if you want to see the historic facts. And we also protected those who are in the east of us from the European Christian civilization and the West Asian Islamic attacks. We protected those who are in the east of us. They remained Buddha and Hindu only because of our struggle for more than 1,000 years. So we did not have that level of understanding to destroy. Only Bappa Rawal was the only person who went and up to Iran, he attacked and he defeated all the Muslim forces at that time. Ummah, which was called, and what is that, Khalifa. Their empire was totally destroyed by him. There was no empire in the Muslim, this from 8th century to 13th century. Then the Mongols also attacked in the 12th and 13th century. So they ruined everything. They almost eliminated the Islamic culture. Then they shifted to India and Europe. Europe was under British Islamic rule for a long time. Spain was under the Islamic rule for more than 600 years. And India was also. So all these things happened. We were not aware that we should remove these things from the similar. So the British, when the British came also, we did not know what will happen. So the one British scholar wrote also, what is wrong with these Hindus? They are not aware what is going on around them, how people are planning to eliminate them, like that. So at that level, we were lacking, but merely because some historic defeats were there, we should not give up the spiritual level. We should not say that, no, spiritual level doesn't matter. After all, it is the spiritual leadership which saved the country's culture.
So in that manner, you're saying that if there is a need, even today, if something drastic happens and then the spiritual leaders will take care that the country does not fall into a complete chaos, that we will still have the Hindu culture will continue, the Sanatan culture.
See, when the British attacked, British captured, conquered our country, what we did was just the next best thing. We started propagating our culture and religion in the West. So that was used as an opening. How wise a decision that is, just think. Brahma Samaja had a great influence in India before Arya Samaj, and Arya Samaj also had a great influence. But they propagated their thoughts outside also. Then Theosophical Society, and then Swami Vivekananda, and then people like Paramahansa Yogananda and Maharshi Mahesh Yogi was a superstar among the spiritual leaders who propagated our religion in the West. So that was you. So they move very wisely, the spiritual leadership. But It
Yes.
doesn't mean that the social and other levels of leadership, they should abdicate their responsibilities. They should be in coordination with the spiritual leaders. They should act like it happened in Madhava Vidyaranya and Harihara Bukka, Chandragupta and Chanakya. So the spiritual leadership, the social and political leadership, they have to coordinate, and education system also should be according to the spiritual thoughts only, not merely material education as it is now. We are self-destroying by the education system. Oh,
Okay. So Swamiji, should we start with the next verses of Bhagavad Gita, the last part of chapter 6?
yes. Chapter 6, up to 25, sloka 25 we had gone.
Right.
So the next sloka says how to focus the mind. That is what was said in the 25. Na kinjit avichintaya. Do not think anything when the mind is fixed on the Atman, soul. And after that, if the mind moves away, gets deviated or attracted towards other things, then address it and bring it back to that focal point of Atman. So they will attain Brahma Sakshatkar, Brahma Jnana by this process. So how to meditate? And the yogi, he gets rid of all the impressions, past sanskaras of bad karmas. Yogi Vigata Kalmasha. And he will remain in Brahmajnana and extreme bliss. But their behavior also will change. Like I told, their material level also changes. They see everything as the same. There is God in everything they see. And God also is very pleased with such people. The level, God consciousness level, Ishvara is also very pleased with such human beings who have reached this level that they see everything as equal. Sarvatra Samadarshana. So those who see me in every, God says, Krishna says, those who see me in everything, they are residing in me. So that is a very high level of the yogi, that he has evolved into such a high level that he is residing with the supreme consciousness, that is Parameshti. So those who see every creature's sorrow as their own sorrow and happiness as their own happiness, they are the greatest yogis. So merely not yoga sadhana is needed. They have to evolve themselves in their karma also to be of service to remove the pain and give happiness to all around them. So Arjuna naturally asks, how can my mind evolve into this level? It is very, it moves in an opposite direction to what you have just described. And it is very obstinate also, stubborn, that I will not change and I will not evolve into a higher level. So to control it is like controlling the air. How can I do it? Yes, that is correct. But if you practice and if you discard those unnecessary things, then you will naturally evolve into that level. Those who don't try to control the mind, they will not be yogis. Krishna says definitely. So Arjuna then asks, if somebody practiced yoga, he will naturally be deprived of many worldly activities which that time he utilizes for yoga practice. So will he, if he doesn't attain the highest level, Brahmajnana, then will he not be deprived of both the levels, the world and the level of spirituality? Both the levels, will they not be deprived of both levels? Then Krishna says, no. They will never be a loser in any aspect of life. And whatever they have done, yoga sadhana, even if they do not attain the highest level, in next births, they will be taking birth in places where this is very favorable atmosphere is there to do sadhana, yoga abhyasa, and they might be even born in the family of a great yogis who have self-realized. So this will help them in completing their sadhana. Like that, they will be also drawn by the past practice. The spiritual practices will be very easy for them from the beginning itself. So the yogi removes all the sins. Again, the yogi removes all the impressions of sins from the mind by consistent practice. And by making such attempt for many births, they attain the transcendental state. So the yogi is at a higher level than those who do merely penances, just to without attempting for understanding the higher levels which have to be attained. And merely those who have studied the scriptures, Jnana Yoga scriptures, yogi is higher than them. And those who do merely seva, but do not aspire for spiritual detachment and spiritual levels. So yogi is higher than all these people. So you should be a yogi in the world. Be a yogi in the world. And those who see me in everything, this has been said before. So the highest level of yogi is the yogi who has attained the highest level and who is firmly established in yoga. He always worships me. Me means the Supreme. He always remembers that Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Supreme. That he knows, and he always strive to remain in that level. He is the most established yogi. This is what Krishna says in the 6th chapter. There are 47 slokas. This has to be read, then practiced, and then perfected. It will take time. Any yoga sadhak, when he starts, beginner's luck is there. They attain very high level very quickly. But later on, they find that purva sanskaras, the old impressions, they fight back and they get established in the mind. So that's why these impressions of sins have to be removed is said 2 times. So they are removed then by the higher levels of sadhana. Then they attain the Brahma Jnana.
I have to interfere. We are running short of time. Swamiji, I have a few questions, and I today just was taking it easy. I just wanted to hear you too, and I have a few questions which I'm going to ask you next week. It's related to this yogi, and because I have a huge concentration problem. I'm not able to meditate. I don't know, my mind wanders, and I try, but I don't get it. Anyway, I'll ask the questions next week. Thank you so much. Gitanjali ji, आपका धन्यवाद कैसे दूं मुझे नहीं पता, सीरियसली. स्वामी जी आपका भी धन्यवाद बोल के मैं धन्यवाद नहीं कर सकती.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम.
श्रोताओं, अच्छा लगा तो लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए. हम लोग नेक्स्ट वीक फिर से आएंगे. आप लोगों को भी पहले भी बोल चुकी हूँ, मैंने भी बोला है, गीतांजलि जी ने भी बोला है. अगर आप लोगों को अच्छा लगता है और कोई सवाल है तो प्लीज कमेंट्स के उसमें आप सवाल लिख दीजिए. हम स्वामी जी से वो सवाल पूछ लेंगे. एंड जरूर लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए चैनल को. हम और भी ऐसे एपिसोड्स लेके आएंगे. धन्यवाद.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. हरि ओम.
much.